Hello everyone and welcome to my channel and to this video. Today we will be painting two very cute and possibly very in love penguins. So I did make my sketch on just a regular printing paper and then trace it onto my watercolor paper using a graphite paper. And that is actually what I always advise. If you have a little bit more complicated sketch it just on a regular paper and then trace it onto your watercolor paper, because you will probably erase things and you don't want smudges and also that graphite around your paper. Well, at least I don't really like that, so I try to avoid that by making my sketch on just a regular paper. Also, Sketch is available for download on my website, so there is a link down in the description box. You can go ahead, check it out, download it for yourself and join in this painting. It is actually quite more simple than it maybe looks, so I think you should definitely give it a try. First thing I did is pre-wet the entire paper except my penguins, and then started with, that is a mix of brown and blue and a little bit of the black in the lower part of the painting, and then on top I've used a little bit more blue mixed in with just a little bit black to paint in the, well, I guess sky, and then some yellow also to add a little bit more variety. This is not really a realistic painting, especially background. It is quite abstract, so just tap in your paint here and there wherever you want it. You don't have to paint the sky and the land, that is basically up to you. When finished with my paint, I've added a little bit of salt. This is just a regular table salt. I've sprinkled it around on my paper and also added a couple of sprinkles with white gouache, and then afterwards just a couple of sprinkles with just clean water, and all of that I did while the paper was still wet. Afterwards I left it to dry completely. I did not use my hair dryer because salt doesn't really work if you dry it with hair dryer. It has to dry naturally, so I left it to dry completely, rubbed off the salt, and then moved on to painting my penguins. And first I started with their belly, front size of their fur, and added just a little bit of, again, mix of black and blue. In the lower part, I do want that lower part near to their legs to be a little bit darker and upper part a little bit lighter, so that I used just a little bit of yellow in that part. Also, I'm not really trying to paint the color of their furs because it is white on the front, but just all of that we're painting are actually shadows. So I'm not really painting one even washes, but just adding paint here and there where I do believe their shadows are. Also, I've painted the lower part near to the legs a little bit, using a little bit cooler colors, and upper part nearest to their head I'm using a little bit warmer colors, so just the same, basically same colors as I did use for my background, and placed them same as my background, darker colors lower, brighter colors in the upper part of the penguins. So also right now I'm using this very thin, this is a, I would call it a liner brush, quite thin and perfect for doing very small lines. So I'm using it to just add, to mimic some lines of the fur. And as you can see, I'm just doing those wiggly lines going up and down with my strokes, mimicking some hair actually of the fur. And all of that I was doing while the paint was still wet, because I did pre-wet the paper where the front of the body is, and then painted all of that. But then while it was slightly drying, I moved on to painting their bill, and I painted that in a very red color. And this one is not light red, it is a little bit darker red, but also very vibrant. And also then painted in their feet using the same color, but just a little bit less saturated, used a little bit more water to paint in their feet, and also with a little bit of darker color, some brownish color, I've added in a little bit more details to their feet. Same thing I will do with the other penguin, also paint in his feet. But you know, you're probably thinking, why aren't their feet completely visible? Well, because later on I will add, as you can see that in finished painting, I will add a little bit more dirt or something like that, dirty snow in the lower part, just on the ground, so their feet won't be completely visible. Also, I've added that little claws, I hope there's claws on their feet. Afterwards, now that my bill has dried, I moved on to painting the penguin. First, I made those two black lines around the bill and then started in painting the penguin. And as you can see right now, I'm just doing those also wiggly lines and not really trying to paint particular hair, but just wiggling with my brush, making that part not really one even line where the front and the back are meeting, where that black is meeting the white, but I'm just wiggling with my brush and mimicking that part that there is some hair maybe sticking out, so that line is not quite straight, but it is a little bit broken. And I've painted in the entire penguin with that. This is just black with a little bit of brown in it, and also painted in their back where the penguin tail is, and also added a couple of more lines for those a little bit more, I guess something like feathers. And then added just some details to his flipper. I do want to leave a little bit white space between the flipper and the back, the body, because I do want that to make a distinction and to make that flipper a little bit more visible. Also, afterwards, I moved on to painting my second penguin, and for that one, I did add a little bit more of the brown color in front, in a part that is nearest to the belly. And I did wanted to make that penguin just have a little bit more different colors, like looking like there is maybe some light shining on it, and it's just shining differently. It just gives an impression of different colors. And also I do want to make the distinction between the flipper and the body of that penguin, so I did leave some white spaces there. Then just moved on to painting a little bit more details. I've added eyes to my penguins, and then again painted in the tail of the second penguin. For this, I've turned my paper around because, you know, it makes it easier for me to do those strokes going on the right side, because I'm a right-handed person, and then to do them on the left side, those little feathers, those little lines. So just make it comfortable for you, to make it easier for you to do the strokes that you need to do. If you need to turn around the paper, that is fine. If not, that is also fine. Now that my belly is completely dry, I just moved on to a little bit more details, adding a little bit more shadows, and then making the distinction between the belly and the feet of my penguins. And again, adding a little bit more shadows just beneath the flipper. And I guess I'm just doing a little bit more touch-ups and details where I feel it's necessary. Later on, I will add also a little bit more of the details to his belly, but that is basically what you will see in your painting. Is it necessary or not? Right now I'm using a white gouache. I did a couple of sprinkles with white gouache, and I'm just doing also some details, some highlights on my penguins. I've added just behind the eyes those little dots, and also on their bills, and also again on some parts of the body, flippers, I've added in a little bit of white gouache. And right now, that is what I was talking earlier about. I'm adding a little bit more details, a little bit more paint to the ground, and this time I did not pre-wet the paper, and I don't even have a lot of water in my brush. I'm just adding that paint because I do want it to be a little bit more textured, and I don't want to have a one single wash. So just don't use too much water, use a little bit less water in your brush, and don't pre-wet the paper, because we do want that part to have, as I said, a little bit more texture, looking like there may be some rocks or something like that on the ground. And then added again a couple of more sprinkles with white gouache, dipped it in water to make a little bit larger sprinkles, and that is basically it. With that, I'll be finishing off this painting and of course this video. Thank you guys a lot for watching, for all your support. I really do appreciate that a lot. I hope you're having a nice holidays, And if you do like this video, please hit the like button, share it, comment. If you haven't still, please do subscribe to my channel. That really means a lot to me. And if you want to go a step further, maybe consider joining my channel. That's that join next to the subscribe button. Click on that, listen to the offer, and then decide. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next time. Bye!